Hello all, and welcome back to the Salty Safe Cracker, or rather, I'm the Salty Safe Cracker, and you're welcome back to watching me.
Turn this upside down.
Hello all, I'm the Salty Safe Cracker, and today we're working on a Jeep Wagoneer 1984. Client lost their keys, so we're going to be doing a wheel pull to gain access to the cylinder that we will then make a key for. As you'll see later, there's a little spring-loaded tab on the back of this that holds it in place. And it's like right here. So we'll take all the stuff out, get access to that retainer, and then the cylinder comes out, and then we'll go back to the shop and make a key. Some of the newer models have a plastic plate or a rubber plate or something that's held in with a couple screws. These older ones are just press fit. So we can just take that off. And then this nut has to come off, these screws. And then this will come out, and we'll get a better picture of what's down inside. I hope you all enjoyed the previous video. Of course, as soon as I posted it, I noticed a couple goofs, so I might have to make a like a corrections video or something, just so I'm not spreading false information out there. Granted, the things I said are more or less just technical terms that don't have any impact on anybody. It's just, I probably sounded like an idiot to any locksmith out there who might watch these. One of the things was the this is part of the horn. One of the things I said that I probably get called foul on, I think I called it the spring cap, the little nut that goes on the end of a cylinder, but it's the cap nut. And then I said the shim was 20 thousandths of an inch thick. No, I think it's like 2 thousandths. And again, I haven't gone back to verify, but 20 thousandths is the size of some of the master pins, which I don't think I've shown you yet. But suffice to say, 20 thousandths is way too big to be used as a shim, so I'm pretty sure it's closer to like 2 thousandths. It's really thin. Alright, get this nut off. And then once that nut is off, these are more or less, apologize for the crazy frame there. These are more or less press fit. That nut holds everything on, and I don't know how well you can see it, but this is serrated, and the column is serrated, so it can only go on one way. So to get this off, I mean, you could try and muscle it, but there's a special tool to help do it. Looks like this post sits in here, And then these allow screws to go down into here, and then you can use this to pull the wheel. And so step one, we got to find some bolts that are the right size so as to hold on to the threading. Not quite. You can see there's a couple different standard threads that we could use, and so we just got to figure out which ones are which. Once we've got one that we know works, we can find its pair in our kit. So thread's right, length is wrong. Once we've got two that are good, we can put this back on and loosen this up. Here we go. Get these in. One of the important things when using these wheel kits, if you ever try and do this yourself, is to make sure that these two bolts are screwed in a similar amount, because if they're not, then this plate won't sit parallel to the wheel, and you'll bend a bolt because it'll put all the pressure on one versus another, and it'll pull it to a side as opposed to straight out. So you want to just make sure that they're parallel, and then we can tighten this bad boy up. It's not a great view, is it? That's all right. I think it's kind of fun. Once we've got it on there, we can take this and we're just tightening it, and that's pulling the wheel towards us by pushing on that center post. And the first couple turns, there's a lot of pressure, and then after that, we more or less break the tension, and then you can turn it with your fingers, and then the entire wheel comes off. Boop. Okay, then we can remove these and continue with the wheel pull. This next bit, we've got another special tool because this outer plate here is spring loaded. And down inside, yeah, we can see it right here. Is this little, I guess, I'm not sure the technical term. I've only ever heard it referred to as a Jesus clip. I don't know if that's because the entire time you're trying to get it off, that's what you're saying, but that's what I've heard it referred to as anyway. And we use this to get that part off. This part is threaded, goes onto here, and then these arms push this down when we tighten this bolt, and it holds all the pressure off so we can get that clip out. So you thread the center post on first, And then once it's good and tight, you find whichever part of this plastic you feel like is up to the pressure you're about to apply. A lot of these components are plastic and there's not much you can do about it. Some of them break and there's no other way to go about it. Technically, that's a lie. Some of them, like I said, have that little that soft button here with that spring loaded. Some of them don't. The ones that do, you can take a screw, and this completely ruins it. Take a screw and you drive the screw into this, so you've got a good grip, and then you use a dent puller to yank it. But you have to know whether or not it's got that soft retainer. If it's got a hard retainer, like this style, where there's a screw, a physical screw that holds this in, that will never work. But on the ones with the soft, you can yank it, and you don't have to do anything else that I've been doing. You just yank it, and you throw a brand new one in. Like, you know, to each their own. I like this way just because you don't have to use a new lock every time. Oh, it's so close. Look at that. So you tighten this one up, and it's going to push down on that plate and open up access to that ring. Once we've got access to the ring, the thing I've found is most efficient is you take a flathead screwdriver that you're not totally in love with, because sometimes they break with the amount of leverage you have to place on them, and you find the split right there. Let's see here. You find the split. Oh, sorry. There you go. You find the split, and then you can lift up the column here, and you want to get the ring settled on this piece, because reinstalling it from that point is much easier. So we'll try and do that here. Boop, boop, boop. And sometimes you need more than one. Which isn't too big of a deal. Let me know if you have seen a more efficient way of doing this, because this is arguably the most tedious part of a wheel pull. And so if you've got any tips or tricks, I would love to hear them. Because as you've seen so far, everything's pretty straightforward and simple. This part seems to take the majority of the time and effort. And yeah, I would be interested in knowing if there's a better way of doing it. Most everything I have learned has been on the job, with an exception to safe work. All of the safe work stuff, I've been to formal courses to learn how to bypass the various mechanisms in more or less tried and true ways. gonna be hopefully doing more of those courses this year. I think I'd like to get me and my other employees a little more trained on the non-destructive bypass methods for the electronic safes. There's some very cool toys out there that allow bypassing the electronic safes without damaging them. When I signed up for the courses, I was just interested in being able to do as many different kinds as possible, and so I only learned the mechanical defeat methods because they can apply to both mechanical safes and electronic safes. And so it was a quick, or not a quick, it was the most efficient as far as my education went, where I didn't have any knowledge and I needed to get as much knowledge as I could to become active in the safe realm here. That said, so far I've opened, I think, 30 some safes. I really need to do a better job of recording which ones I've done and all that, but the days go by, and aha. Okay, let me show you my progress, because you've just been staring at my mug to make weird faces. So we got the lip of that ring started, and so now I'll kind of chase it around and get it the rest of the way up onto that center cylinder there. Also, if you want to let me know kind of what more stuff you'd like to see, I'm just more or less showing you guys stuff as it comes up. But if there's things you're specifically interested in seeing, I'd love to cover that for you. I think this next week I'm going to try and do a couple shorts going over the different kinds of cylinders. My previous video was just your standard, they call them key and knob cylinders, or at least that's how we order them, key and knob. But they are more or less the cylinders you find in doorknobs, deadbolts, and levers. And I mean, there's a whole ton of cylinders out there that are not those. All right, here we go. So now you can see that ring is resting up here. So we can loosen this nut. It'll take all the pressure off that plate, and then we can get behind it. I also need to get a mic. That way you guys aren't hearing all the clicking and clanging and just hearing my beautiful voice. Heh. Oh, sorry. Maybe I'll have to hire a cameraman too. If you guys help me blow up on the tubes, oh my gosh, I could get my daughter to be the cameraman. How cute would that be? Oh, the videos would be terrible, I'm sure, but I would have fun. There we go. Very important, you put this somewhere you remember to reinstall it. And it's reinstalled the exact same way you take it off, so it should be pretty easy to remember. But yeah, you don't want to lose that. Oh, and then this little plate comes off, and you can see this, the little teeth. There you go. You can see the teeth on here that hold on to this center piece, which is all geared. That's not the right term, but there you go. Then this comes out. I also try and place things in such a way to know how they went on and how they come off. Boop, 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 boop. So our retainer is still back here behind all this stuff. So there's 3 or 4 screws holding this all together. There's one here, one here, one here. Technically, this one has to come out. It's on the blinker, but I do that one last because you need to move the blinker in order to access this screw. Or I guess you could just blink it and then leave it like this. I think this is hazards? Yeah. The hazard light also needs to come out, but this is just threaded. It just unscrews. Boop. Put that somewhere safe. And then... Ooh. I did have a GoPro I was hoping to use to make some of these videos so you wouldn't have to deal with my shaky hands. But I broke the LCD screen, and trying to memorize the order in which to push the buttons to record without being able to see the screen is just beyond me at this point. I put up with it for I don't know, like 4 years. I really should just get a new one. They're 10 generations newer than my poor sad GoPro, but it's done some really cool stuff. Boop, boop, boop. Oh my gosh, it's been 22 minutes? God, Josh is slow. I'll blame it on you guys, because, you know, I'm sure it's your fault. So, boop. You just want to be careful not to damage any of these cords or power cables. This is the most common piece to break, and honestly, I've opened it up and it's been broken already. Like, these plastics just aren't stable enough to have been used the way they are, and honestly it makes me wonder why they well, probably cost savings, I would assume, but I mean, they're just, half the time this is like split in half, or this outer piece is blown out from using the clicker. You can see there's a crack started. Maybe you can't. I can see there's a crack started. There you go. Well, geez, focus there. Anyway, so if there's going to be a broken piece, this is one of the more common pieces to break. And so, of course, it's like 10 degrees or something god awful here, and so the plastic's all brittle to begin with, but you just kind of want to wiggle, wiggle, wiggle as gently as you can to get this out. And sometimes you gotta move this piece around so as to avoid getting caught on that wire. Don't know why that's a word that gave me a fit, but there you go. Sometimes the words evade me. You kind of just wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Yum. All right, so sometimes this will come all the way out and sometimes it won't. If you adjust it down, get it straight, sometimes that takes pressure off of all the cables that run through here. So you can kind of move this out of the way. But slow and steady, you don't want to break anything. As much room as you can get. I mean, this is actually as much as you need. Down inside here is what we're looking for. Let's see if we can turn on our light. Nope, not gonna let me do it. Let's see here. Flashlight, bro. Nope. Oh, that's okay. So, two possibilities. There's that physical screw that I showed you on the other one, and then there's a retainer. And it looks like we might have the retainer down in here. It's kind of hard to see. I mean, and it always is. But I typically just take a small screwdriver and I'm looking for back pressure. Let's see, maybe. Oop. See right there. That might be it. That was it. Ha! There you go. So there's that soft retainer. And I say soft just because it's spring loaded versus a screw would be hard, right? You can't bypass a screw in the same way that you can bypass this little spring. So next step is we take this back to the shop. Oh, yeah, there it is. We might be able to even do it on site. These oftentimes have, of course, we'll have to switch the camera view. Let's see. Nope, that's not it. Pause. I'm back. Let's see if we can get this stupid thing to focus here. Maybe this time? Oh, it's close. There we go. There we go. So, that 4-digit code tells us what the key is. There's a program called Code Source, as well as a couple others out there. I am not a paid advertiser yet. Code Source, hear me out. That said, we take this code, we punch it into Code Source. It tells us the blank and the cuts for this ignition. So that'll be the next step. We can go find the code and cut a key, and I'll take you along for the ride. I guess before we go and cut that code, we can actually reassemble this before we leave, because once we have the key, all this does is it pushes in, because this is beveled, and so This doesn't have to be disassembled in order to reinstall it. So we can put all of this back together, which we'll do in ultra high speed for you. And then once we've got the key, this just comes back and pushes right in. Boop. Let's go. Gently, gently, very gently. There we go. Where's my mat? You can't see me and the column at the same time, apparently. Oh. Also, I'm curious. Well, you may not hear the audio. I might edit this out. Those of you who are locksmiths, you know, do you reckon I'm making a bad choice putting this information out there? I don't think it's protected in any way. Anyone can rent one of these kits, I'm sure. And they're fairly cheap on Amazon, so I don't know. I went back and forth on making the series, you know, and, well, am I going to undercut my income by sharing these videos? But more or less, I mean, it was something I was interested in doing, and where I, you know, own the business that I do, coming up with ways to train my team can be difficult, because, you know, we might not see a wheel pull for months or years at a time, and so having a video ready and available for my team to watch seemed inherently valuable as well. So I don't know. You guys tell me what you think. I'd appreciate your thoughts. The safe stuff is where I'm most concerned on what I can share and all that, but we'll find that out as we go as well. I can't get a good camera. That's okay. Let's see. Here's this monster spring, and that's what's pushing back at us, and why we need that tool that we do. Okay. Let's go. Like this. So, all my obnoxious honking is because this plate is the horn. So on these, when you're pushing down, you saw that little kind of springy thing. When you push down on this plate, it completes a circuit with that little springy bit and the plate and the center column, which causes the horn to go off. And so as I'm tightening this, I'm completing the circuit, and that's what's causing the horn to go. I'm sure everyone's loving it. Oh, last thing. Doopa doopa doo. As we can fit this bad boy in, and you can see that lines up in this little notch here, so we know which way to orient it. Also, I guess it's not symmetrical. We've got the 3 arms. It's pretty apparent in which way it goes. And that's actually a lot of my job. People are like, oh, that seems crazy. But most of the things are engineered in such a way that they won't go together the wrong way. And if they do, they don't function, so it's pretty apparent that it's in the wrong way. So that said, one of the things when I see something new is I'll take a picture before I disassemble it to ensure I get it back together appropriately. Hey guys, if you stuck around through the entirety of that video, I want to thank you for hanging in there. I know I think I'm hilarious, but my wife reminds me regularly that not everyone finds me as funny as I do. So thanks again for watching. There will be a second edit of this video that'll be released here shortly for people who are actually trying to work on the vehicle and don't want to sit through the full 40 minutes. So it'll probably be, I'm hoping to get like a 5 or 6 minute video where we just cut out all of the jokes and you just see each step. So thanks again. I guess also if you got this far, hit that like button, subscribe. I'm hoping to continue making silly videos for you guys to watch. Thanks.